My name is Genevieve Page Villar. This is More Than a Woman. And today we have Scott Clary. Clary? How do you,
Clary.
Clary. So nice to have you on the show today. We're going to dive in on who Scott is. I want to know everything.
Who am I?
Yeah.
Right now, I'm a podcaster.
Okay.
I'm an entrepreneur. I'm somebody that tries to take the experience of somebody who's figured out life and unpack that so that somebody who's just starting out struggles a little bit less.
Okay.
That's the goal of all my content.
How did you get into podcasting? What were you doing before?
So I was in tech before.
Okay.
I started podcasting because I saw it as a way to sort of future-proof my own brand. I didn't, at the time I was building a company that was eventually acquired. I had no idea what I was going to do after that acquisition. And how that acquisition played out is they basically, the company that acquired us let us know about a year before that they were really, really interested. So I had a year to say, okay, this is not going to be the thing that I'm doing for the rest of my life. So what is that thing going to be? And how do I sort of start work? Because I can't start a new business while I'm already working on a business. But what I can do is I can start building a brand that can be useful to start another business in the future, because I'm a marketer. I'm, a student of the Gary V's of the world. And I saw that he built a brand and he used that brand to launch new businesses. So the podcast was me building my own personal brand. Podcasting was just something that I enjoyed because I believe you can build a personal brand with any kind of content. I think the most important thing is that you enjoy creating that content, because you can build a personal brand on TikTok, podcasting, newsletter, X, Substack. It doesn't really matter. Just pick something you enjoy. And that to me is like the precursor for success. Because if you enjoy something, you can stick with it, it'll be successful. So for me, that was podcasting. And it was ironically not meant to become the main business, but it did become the main business. It was meant to be media leverage. It was meant to build an audience that I could use to launch another business in the future. And now it's turned into that. But I've been doing this for almost 7 years. It was really the only business for the majority of that time.
I love that. And I'm realizing that now. I've been in fashion for 10 years. And I think that, I started my businesses when I was about 19. And I just try to build my business, but I didn't realize that people are buying from my business because it's me, the personal brand behind it. And I don't know why I didn't realize this until after I became a mother, after I had been through COVID and my own personal struggles. And I didn't realize the importance of building my personal brand like the way that I would now. So when at that point that you were, starting out your podcast, do you think that the consistency is what has gotten you to where you are today?
So yes, it is consistency. I guess the question is, like, when did I know that it was going to be the full-time thing? I think I loved it so much. Like, I genuinely love doing this so much. I mean, you've seen some of the guests that I've had on. It's pretty cool to be able to sit down with some of the most impressive, incredible, accomplished people on earth and call that your job. The more that I loved it, which is why I think loving the thing you do is actually very important. You won't love all of it because there's always going to be bullshit you got to deal with. Any business that you love, even podcasting where I'm sitting down with a Gary V, or you just posted an interview with Damon John, super cool, right? Fine. That's like less than 5% of the work.
Right.
Most of it is like invoicing and hiring and firing and HR and, talking to advertisers, figuring out new process, like boring stuff that kind of like supports the fun stuff.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean I love 100% of it, but that's every business. But the main thing I really, really love. And when I figured that out, and then I figured out I could make money doing that, to me, that was like, this is the perfect thing to do for the rest of your life. And I could only wish that everybody sort of experiences this at some point, where they are so passionate and so in love with the main part of their business. You're always going to go through the bullshit and all the admin stuff. Every business has that. But if you love the main part of it, it allows you to keep doing it for an exceptionally long period of time, which also will let it become successful. So I loved it. I realized that I could do it for forever. I've said many times I could podcast till I die. And I truly mean that. Like,
I love it too, though.
I really
I
love
relate.
it. And then when I feel that way around something, then there's no rush.
Right.
Like, I'm not rushing to make $1 million with podcasting, even though we've well surpassed that now in annual revenue. But when I first started, I'm like, I'm not rushing to make $1 million or even $100,000 podcasting and replace a salary, for example, because I love it so much. I could do this for forever.
Right.
But I know that if I do it for forever, the money will come.
Right. Because you're more passionate about it. So then, for someone just starting out, I've only been doing podcasting now since May. What advice would you give to somebody that wants to start and bring on influential entrepreneurs? You've brought on some amazing people onto your show. So how did I
get those guests?
Yeah.
Take big shots. What I mean by that is when I first started the show, I reached out to people that were way out of my league. So I reached out to Grant Cardone, Guy Kawasaki, Anthony Scaramucci, Patrick Bet-David, and probably about 500 others. So I did not have like a great hit rate, but still those 4, they said yes. They came on the show when it was still really, really, really early days.
I love this advice because I'm the cold calling queen.
So you get it. But a lot of people don't take big shots.
Yeah, because they're scared. But why? Yeah. It's like, just go for it. What is the worst that can happen? They say no. It only takes like 2 or 3, and not even, maybe it only takes like that one good guest to come on your show, and it is game changer.
Because then you use that guest, and then you're like, hey, look at the great interview I had with pick a person.
Absolutely.
And then you send that to the next big guest, and they're like, oh shit.
You bring value now.
And
that's how you pitch too.
Yeah. And this is your sales. So you get it. So I'm sales, I'm marketing. That was my background. If you're an entrepreneur trying to close a client, okay, fine. You have your clients that are not as big and you have a pretty good close rate with those clients. Great. Awesome. But my suggestion is, once a week, why not hit up 10 whale clients that you never think you could close?
100%.
Because what if one of them says yes? In the tech world, what if you sell to Google or to Meta? Like, your whole business and your whole life changes.
It's true.
And even if you have 99% saying no, you only need one, and then your whole life changes. You'll need one big guest to get the next guest. You'll need one whale client to take your revenue from, $500,000 a year to $2 million to $5 million, because then you not only have the ability to do it, you have the trust that you have the trust in yourself and the belief in yourself, which is, I think, probably the most powerful thing. But then you have proof for the next one, proof for the next client, proof for the next guest. So I'm a big fan of taking big shots. And I mean, you can be strategic about it too. I mean, just one more strategy thing for podcasting in particular. You want to get big guests, find people that have something to promote. So a very tactical thing. And by the way, life is when I think about life advice or business advice, I sort of split it into 2 buckets. There's the mindset that's very important. So big shots, believing in yourself, that's all mindset. But then you couple that and you attach that to the actual tactics. So if you believe in yourself and you're okay taking big shots, then the tactical piece of advice would be, well, I want to get people on the podcast who have big audiences or something to promote. So how do I find them? What I would do is I'd go to Amazon. I'd look up and coming new release business books, next 6 months, filter by most famous to least famous author, and then hit up those most famous authors that have business books that are being published in the next 6 months, because they have something that they have to promote.
Yes. So I love this strategy.
This is the tactical thing.
This is good insider information.
It is very, very good.
Yeah.
And it works. It always works.
Yes.
Because you have to think, when you're selling anything, you have to go into the mind of the person who you're selling to.
Absolutely. Like, and I do that already, but I haven't done that one.
And why now?
Yeah, it's true.
And of course they want PR. But if you hit up, Matthew McConaughey does a lot of podcasts. He's been on some really, really big shows, but he only does them when he releases a book. So of course he's going to do podcasts, but I'm sure he gets a lot of podcast invites. He's a big guy, right? But when he has a book coming out, there's incentive for him to do more PR because he's already doing 20 podcasts. So what's another one? And when you're starting out, that you being the just another podcast can be a game changer for you.
The AI space right now, all the conversations behind it, everyone's saying it's changing the way that we create content. It's helping us in so many ways. But what is one thing that you think that AI can never replace?
AI can never replace, there's 2 main things. It would be human connection. So humans still want to connect with other humans, meaning that if you just post AI content, or if you think AI content is going to replace a creator, I don't believe that to be true, because as a consumer of content, I like to consume content from other people.
And it's emotion based. You have to
Mhm.
relate to somebody. You're not going to relate to somebody by a
I never
robot.
relate. So the second I see AI content,
I
because
swipe.
yeah, I don't care about it. And there's some good, this is what's funny. The AI content that really does well, the creator who's posting it is trying to mask that it's AI.
Right.
Because the second somebody knows,
Yeah, they don't trust it anymore.
they don't trust it. And this is why platforms too, they label what's AI and what's not. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is it can't replace true taste and lived experience, in my opinion. So when I listen to somebody, I want to learn from them based on what they've gone through, not just a Googleable fact.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want to learn how they survived when they got sued or when the deal fell through and they had to shut down their business, because it's more than just, okay, hire a lawyer.
Right.
For example, God forbid you get sued. Hopefully not, but at some point, if you do things right in business, it'll happen at some point.
It's true.
But it's not just the thing that the action that they're responding to. Is like, how do they manage their own emotions and their own stress levels and their home life? And that's not something that AI can ever replicate because it's never gone through that. So lived experience is very important. And I think that AI can never replace that.
Yeah, I think also I have the same feeling about universities. Obviously, you have to go to school to become a doctor, an attorney, some level you have to go to school. But in business, all my lessons and everything that I have learned has come from my failures, has come from my wins.
100%.
So I think the same thing about school than I do with AI. I also think that those relationships that come from, let's say, podcasting like this, AI will never replace that.
No.
And I always say, the hot topic right now is, do you think AI is going to replace jobs? But I'm like, learn the skills and improve, your own personal skills, or learn new skills that AI will never be able to replace.
And it won't replace all jobs. It'll replace mediocre. It will always replace mediocre, and it will replace people who don't understand how to use AI. So I've interviewed many, CEOs, CTOs, CMOs who've run massive companies, and all the job postings now are the skill set plus AI competency. So if you want to be a marketer, you're a marketer that understands how to use AI to have 10x the output or increase the quality.
Right, because of knowing how to prompt it is two different things.
So you don't not have marketers. You don't not have people in HR. Right. You just have people who understand how to do the job, plus use AI to do the job better. That's it. So it's not one really helpful framework even for using AI in your job, because I think that people also get a little bit confused about how to use it properly, because what you don't want to do is just use AI. You still want to have a human component in whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. And I just heard this on a podcast. I interviewed somebody yesterday. I thought it really made sense. And I think it'll be a good way to think about AI for the audience. It's a 20-60-20 rule for using AI. Yeah. What does this mean? So the first 20% of a project is human input, is you're telling it, prompting it what to do based on your lived experience, what you know very, very well. You let AI do 60% of the work, but then the last 20 is human review before anything gets published, before anything gets finalized. So when you think about how to use AI properly for your job, it's never 100% AI, because that's garbage in, garbage out. No human review creates non-good work. But this 20-60-20 is a really healthy way. So if you're using it for content, using it to put together a presentation, using it to edit video, whatever, you have to prompt it. That's the 20% based on your own experience. And then 60% AI takes it, does a lot of work, in a much quicker time. Tweak it. And then you tweak it, you edit it, you review it. So no, it's not replacing people at all.
Right. I agree. So you've interviewed very influential people. What do you think, just on your conversations with them, what do you think has separated an $100,000 business to the $100 million business?
Probably time. Yeah. Probably, people give up. People give up. I think people self-sabotage. That's the reason why most people fail. Because if you stick with something, you're a smart person, there's things that are not going to work out, but you learn from those things. It's very, very, very hard for you to fail if you stay in the game. Right. Because just by staying in the game, a couple things happen. You fail, you learn, you build pattern recognition, which means that you understand what works and you understand what doesn't, and you sort of gravitate more towards activities that work. There will be feedback loops. So, I mean, like when you try something, and this is kind of like the more technical version of failing and learning. When you try something that doesn't work, you understand why it doesn't work and you won't do it again. And I also think that this is something that I guess is harder to measure. But when you stay in a business for a long enough period of time, you build a reputation and trust, and that business to a degree becomes your identity as well. And people know you for that thing, and they trust you because you've been doing it for a long period of time, and then they refer you business. So all of these ideas compound, which means that really, if you stay in the game long enough, if you find a way to survive, not just, and also this also means that the thing that you do when you first start, it's going to look a lot different at year 5 and year 10.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't mean that just existing and doing the same thing over and over again means that you're going to go from 100,000
right.
to 1 million to 10 million to 100 million. But if all these sort of ideas that I just laid out, if you live these ideas and you stay in the game long enough, you naturally will grow and improve. And that to me is the difference between $100,000 business, a $5 million business, and a $100 million business.
Yeah, we were talking about this before we started the show, and my true belief of building to that level of a business is where you started from your foundation. And when you spend a little bit more time, like you said, when you spend a little bit more time thinking about it, planning out the steps and building the foundation of where you see your business growing to, I feel like that is really important.
It is. So this is what's difficult. Two things can be true at the same time. It's important to build a good foundation, but it's also important not to overthink starting.
Yeah. Well, that too.
I say that because some people are so concerned about foundation and getting everything right and perfection that they never actually start.
No, 100%. I mean, that's mindset. That's a mindset thing. I'm talking about if you know that you're going to jump into this business and you're ready to go, focus on the foundation. What are, easy steps like, opening your LLC, starting your website. How are you going to market this? Who is your target audience? The foundation.
That is important as well. I think that a lot of people, the reason why I was saying that it's important to not try and perfect anything before you sort of go and start is because I think a lot of people are very good at getting the foundation right. I think less people are really good at taking action. I think a lot of people actually know what they have to do in life. I genuinely believe that. Like,
I do too.
I'll give you a real example that I've experienced. In my friend group, I'm like the podcast guy, obviously. So a lot of people ask me, how do I start a podcast? Right. And I've given them the playbook. I mean, like I have SOPs for my team. Say, this is how you record your first episode. This is how you edit. This is how you market it. And I've given this to probably 60 people at this point.
And no one's taken it.
Maybe like 2.
Really?
So it's about
wanting versus actually doing.
So it's funny. You asked me like, what am I working on outside the podcast? I'm actually working on a concept for a book I want to write because this idea is very important to me. It's the knowing doing gap. It's how do we, because right now, especially people who listen to this show, they have all the podcasts, they've read all the books, they've watched all the YouTube videos, but they're still not doing the thing that's going to change their life.
Of course.
So how do you shrink that gap? How do you basically remove that gap so that they don't just know the information and they don't just have the groundwork, they don't just start the LLC, they don't just record the first episode, but then they post it or they reach out to their first customer. For some reason, that first step is the scariest step.
Yeah, it's the fear.
It's the fear of the unknown. They feel like if there's just one more podcast they can listen to, they're going to figure it all out. One of my favorite ideas is like, you can never learn how to swim by reading a book about how to swim.
Right.
You have to jump in the water.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people get stuck up because anything in life that we really
it's not human nature.
No,
of course, we're going to be fearful.
It's super fearful, like jumping into the unknown, doing something we've never done before, going outside our comfort zone. These are all very cliche things, but they're all very true.
Yeah.
And the more people that don't just prep, but like take action and start, I mean, you'll never have 100% of it figured out.
And what's funny is that what does well on social media is somebody that is true to themselves and is organic and just holds back or doesn't hold back and is just throws themselves into it and has normal, good conversation. That is what people want to see. So they're, oh my God, I have to look perfect or the video has to be perfect. Like just start posting and then start cold calling. Like, but
Gary Vee's been saying this shit for forever and people still have fear of putting themselves out there or making the first call or posting the first Instagram or podcast.
No, those days are behind me. That fearfulness, those days are behind me. I've seen the difference in when I started my podcast. If we're talking just about podcasting right now, with these speakers or the guests that I've had on the show, I also see the benefit of the marketing that comes out of it afterwards. I'm connecting people that they saw on my show, and we're making connections, and we're going to dinners, and those dinners turned into, you know, different conversations of networking. And it's just been a great. Is your book about podcasting?
No, it's not about podcasting at all.
Oh,
it's about that exact topic.
Okay.
It's about the knowing doing gap. It's about for the majority of my audience, they are very good at reading and learning and accumulating information, and less good at just starting shit.
It's all mindset, though. There's a book that Elena spoke about at the women's conference that I went to. I have to look at it, what the name is again. What is it called? But something about the mental health and the, you know, your mental state and just moving forward and not being afraid.
Yeah.
I have to dive into that book, but I took a picture.
So this is why when I first started my show, I was very tactical. I was talking about, okay, so like, how do I bring on this person that can teach a new entrepreneur how to get like a 5x ROAS on Facebook ads? Very, very tactical shit. And I realized that tactics like really don't matter if you don't get the mindset right. And I think that a lot of people underappreciate how important mindset is when you're starting a business. And that is truly the main differentiator, because all the things we spoke, you asked me how to get from 100,000 to 5 million to 10 million to 50 to 100, like mental models and the way you think will get you there. It's not like one strategy, right? It's how do I persevere when things aren't going right? How do I know how to get out of my own way and hire a CEO when I no longer have the skill set to take my business to the next level? These are not tactical things in the traditional sense, because the tactical thing would be, how do you hire a good CEO for a $10 million business when I've brought it to 2 million and it's not scaling anymore? That's the tactical thing. But before the tactics, you got to get rid of your ego. You got to get comfortable with the fact that you are trusting someone else with, like, this is getting your mind right. And I think that if you get your mind right, then the tactics will come naturally, because you're opening yourself up to things that are not comfortable to you.
So let's just say someone wants to start a business, but they don't have the money to start. What do you think is the first step that they would take? I
mean, you don't need money to start anything. So I think the best path to entrepreneurship is take the skill set that you have outside of building something that's never been done before. I think the easiest way to start becoming an entrepreneur is take the skill set that you already do in a 9-to-5 job, and then you sell that skill set to the market, because the market will always pay more for that skill set. If you are a sales rep, go do freelance sales for somebody, right? If you are a finance person, HR person, if you are a marketing person, go on Upwork, TopTal, Fiverr, like pick a platform. Start selling your services to the market, because you're the expert. The market will always pay you more than what a company will pay you for the same skill set. Once you get a couple clients on retainer, congratulations, now you're an entrepreneur, probably making 2-3 times the amount of money that a company would pay you for doing the exact same job.
There's a lot of no's in between that. So it's, again, mindset, though.
Yeah, there's a lot of no's. So say, easy example, say you're in a sales rep position in a company, you're making like $60,000, $70,000 a year plus commission. Okay, cool. Go on TopTal or go on Upwork, create a profile.
I have VAs on Upwork.
You get it. So VAs, I mean, like, there's every kind of job. There's VAs, there's developers, there's fractional CEOs on Upwork. There's everything, all different price points. You figure out what your skill set is, how to market yourself, open up a profile, reach out to people who are hiring sales talent, and then you can either do a retainer or you can do a percentage of a closed deal if it's like a high ticket product. And congratulations, it doesn't take much to make more than 60, 70 grand.
No, it's true.
And then once you make that money, what do? Well, you don't spend it. Now you hire people to help you close more deals and to help you with your emails. And then all of a sudden, now you have a small little team. And congratulations, now you have like a sales agency if you keep scaling this up.
Right.
So this is one example of entrepreneurship. Sales. That's one example of how to start a business with no money, right? I mean, now with AI, you can vibe code things. If you know how to sell and know how to market, you can build products. So whether or not it's a service-based product or like a software-based product, the barrier to entry is like, it's almost zero. Like, it doesn't really cost money to get started. It costs your time and your self-belief and your ability and willingness to learn skills that you don't have, but it doesn't cost you that much money.
Mm-hmm. You've brought on amazing entrepreneurs. What do you think they all have in common?
So a lot of the things we've spoken about, but the one thing that I think all entrepreneurs really have in common is an incredible, almost delusional amount of self-belief.
But I see that in you, and I see that in myself also. I call myself the cold call queen because I am not scared to go after what I want.
Mm-hmm.
So I agree. And what do you think success means to you?
Success to me means fulfillment, happiness, living the life I want to live without stress about money, but not just focusing on money.
Mm-hmm.
When I think about, because I've interviewed a lot of people and I ask them the same question, the things that are important to somebody who I look at as successful, it's never just money. Yeah, for sure, it's an important part of it, but there's other parts to it as well. So I would say true success is, yes, make money, but focus on your mental health, physical health, relationships, and spiritual health. And if you can fill all those 5 buckets, then that to me is true success.
I agree. Do you have a wife or a girlfriend?
A fiance.
Oh,
in between.
I'm asking because, these are pillars of what I think success means and having that good foundation.
I think that too many people, well, not too many people. I sit across from 2 kinds of, when I say successful, I mean like in the traditional sense, like they've made a lot of money, successful people in air quotes. One kind of person has only made money, and sort of let the other 4 buckets fall apart.
Right.
And then the other kind of person is somebody who has maintained to some degree those buckets across their entire life. And the person who hasn't maintained them, who has just had the exit, who hasn't cared about relationships, health, spirituality, and when I say health, physical or mental, they always feel like they're chasing after something. Like they realize that money isn't giving them what they thought it would give them. And then they're trying to catch up on those other 4 buckets later on in life, and they never seem at peace.
Right. But then on that, I know you need all your buckets, but do you believe that there is such thing as balance? I mean, I'm sure you want kids one day. What are you willing to sacrifice while still wanting money, but then still want all your buckets to be somewhat even?
So I think that the buckets aren't even your whole life, but you never let them go to 0.
Right.
So there are seasons of life that are incredibly imbalanced, and that's okay. You just have to know, what you're signing up for. So if you are, this is why I think that it's such a good, if you are starting young, it's a blessing because you can take risk and you can go all in on yourself and you can try crazy shit.
Yeah.
And if you do that when you're young, you're not disrupting the rest of your life as much. But there is a point where if you do want kids and you do want to focus on other things, I think that season has to come to an end, or at least you have to scale it back.
Yeah. Well, the risk is different.
Exactly. So if you
can't take bigger risks when you have now these different responsibilities.
No. So a couple ideas, because I don't want to make it seem like people who are older are shit out of luck, because that's also not true. But when you're young, you can take a lot of risk, and you have to. But your life will be unbalanced, but that's okay because you're looking for one thing to work out.
But I think that's why it's so important to find a partner that is willing to amplify you and not hold you back.
That partner has to know that you're on the same, that partner has to know that what they're signing up for, if they're dating you at a young age when you're in build mode, it's not going to be like a 9 to 5, 40-hour per week relationship where you clock out at 5 o'clock, which is fine if the partner's cool with that.
Right.
The issue is when the partner isn't.
And wants more.
And you don't communicate that that's what they're signing up for.
Right.
Just a side note, if you are older and you can't afford to go all in on something, that's okay. You can go a little bit slower, because by the time you're older, when I say older, whatever, like say like you're starting a business at 45, 50, 55, 60, whatever, you have 2 superpowers. You have a significant amount of pattern recognition developed over your life, and you have a great network and connections. Those things mean you don't have to hustle and you don't have to have that lack of balance as much, because you kind of already have an idea for what will work and what won't. That's the pattern recognition. And you have the people who can amplify everything you do. So it's actually easier to build when you're a little bit older and have like a more quote unquote traditional balanced version of entrepreneurship. When you're younger, you don't have pattern recognition, you have no networks, you have to like hustle, go all in on everything, try everything. A lot of it won't work, some of it will. But back to the relationship thing, I actually think that for most people, if they want to build a business, when they're in their early 20s, they should focus on building a business, their career, leveling up themselves and not worry about dating.
Okay, so a little controversial though, when you did start dating and you now have a fiance, were you looking for somebody that was just as ambitious as you, or would you prefer, or not prefer, but are you okay with a woman that just is the amplifier, that is willing to just let you do your thing, but maybe one day she's like, you know what, I want to be a stay-at-home mom, a stay-at-home wife, but I have that understanding that you need to do what you need to do?
So she does want to have kids and be a stay-at-home wife, but she's also super ambitious and she has her own business. But what I was looking for, what was I looking for when I met her? I didn't care if somebody was super ambitious, because I knew that I was always going to provide and I was going to figure out life and money. I wanted somebody that was on the same page as me. I didn't care if she worked or not, but I wanted her to be okay with me working because I knew that was going to afford us the life that we wanted to have. I think that, I'm very traditional. I think that the man should work and provide and support, but I also feel like if the woman wants to, good for her. But I've never felt like, oh, I need to rely on her income or the money she makes. The money she makes is for her and the money that I make is for
both of us.
Both of us, yeah. I was going to say her too.
I tell my husband the same thing. We go to the Hard Rock and we're playing blackjack. I'm like, your money, when you lose, is your money. But if we win, it's both of our monies. And I'm the one sitting at the blackjack table. So I'm like, give me your money. I'm winning. Funny. Yeah.
But you like that person, and Gina is that person, but that person who is okay with me having a season of imbalance, going all in on something and her supporting that was the most important to me. So whether or not she was, a stay-at-home, wanted to raise a family, wanted to build it, doesn't really matter to me what she wants to do. But she does
have that understanding that the clock doesn't shut off at 5 o'clock.
No, and that's important to me.
Yeah.
I think that's the most important because like I've dated people in the past that want a more traditional 9 to 5, and that creates friction. So, and that's fine if that's what the guy wants as well. But if the guy doesn't want that, then you have to have somebody who's on the same page from day one.
Right.
And I think that the biggest issue in relationships happen when the guy is scared. Well, I'm saying the guy from my perspective. Say I was scared of, sort of scaring somebody off based on how much I work. And I sort of downplayed it on the first date.
I can see that.
The guy's like, oh no, like I'm starting my own business, but I have lots of time to travel and stuff. And like the reality is you don't. And then you get into the relationship, honeymoon phase is over. And then the expectations that you laid out are not the reality that you're living. And that causes a lot of friction. So when you're young, I think you should not focus on dating, and you should focus on building yourself, building your business, building the skills that are going to afford you and your partner a good life in the future. There's lots of time to date. You don't want to wait forever, but there is a fair amount of time to date, especially when you're like, early 20s. But if you do want to date, just have like radical candor, that book by Kim Scott, right? Be brutally honest about what your life is going to look like for the next 10 years. And communicate that to the person who you want to spend your life with.
And if you choose the right person, I've noticed my networking events or my, entertaining client dinners, that turns into date nights. Like if you know how to network and have a good time at the same time, it doesn't become only work.
I'll tell you something else that I've done. Well, I guess we've done that has worked out really, really well. I'm a big fan of architecting a life that supports your goals, and one of those goals would be relationship goals. What do I mean by that? I could build my business in a lot of different ways. I could be traveling all over the world all the time. I could have built, I told you I have my studio in my backyard. That's the main one that I use. I could have built a studio an hour and a half drive away. I choose to build a studio in my backyard so that I don't have to spend as much time on the road traveling away from somebody who I care about and love. I've architected a life that supports my business goals and my relationship goals. When I travel, like say somebody asked me to go speak, I'm like, okay, so if you're going to pay me to come out, you got to pay to bring her and pay for her plane ticket as well. Because if I'm going to travel for work, Like, I don't want to spend 6 months of my life on the road, not with the person who I care about.
I think that's a healthy balance, though.
Don't get me wrong. This is a privileged position to be in to afford that, but
it's going to change when you have kids.
It will, to a degree. Or maybe I won't speak as much, and maybe I won't travel as much.
Yes, you will. You can't. No, we cannot hold back just because we have kids. I have 3.
But you think about it differently. Why? I don't think about holding back. I think about, how do I make as much money as humanly possible living a life I want to live? And I think too many people sacrifice their life for money. Right. And I will never sacrifice my life for money.
Okay, so you answered one of my questions, though. What are you willing to sacrifice to still have a balance, somewhat of a balance, in all your buckets?
I don't ever think about sacrifice.
Okay.
Like, when I think I'm not going to travel. So say I can travel and get paid to speak. Okay. So if I'm giving that up, then however much income I'm getting from travel and paid speaking gigs and influence and all the different things and selling the book that I just wrote, like whatever the benefit is of, I got to be smart enough to figure out another way.
Right.
I'm not sacrificing shit.
Yeah.
I will never sacrifice. I will just work hard.
You just won't do it this way. You'll do it this way.
I'm so stubborn.
Yeah.
I'm so fucking stubborn. Like, if I can't have it, if I can't do the thing, no, that's the wrong way of saying it. If the thing that I'm doing for business or work, if it takes away from my life, I'm not doing it, but I'm not giving up the money either.
I'm the same way. What sign are you?
I'm a Cancer, actually, on July 6th.
You're my mom's sign. I'm a Capricorn. Anyways, we've talked about everything. This was great.
This was very good.
It was good.
Hopefully this is helpful advice for people.
It was amazing. And so before we jump off, I want you to tell everybody where they can find you, your socials, your Instagram, your marketing agency, everything, where they find you.
If you want to find anything that I'm working on, well, the podcast is called Success Story.
Okay. And we didn't talk about the name.
That's okay. It's okay. It's all
which has 100 million downloads. Did I read that?
Yeah.
100 million downloads. Yeah. Amazing.
So I've been doing that for a few years now, and it's a lot of conversations like this, and then all the socials at Scott D. Clary.
Perfect. Amazing. Well, I am so happy that Scott was on my show today. Thank you so much for watching.